Hey, it's Dr. Kate Walker. Welcome to Thursday 30. It is January the 6th, 2022. Welcome to a new year. Today, we're going to talk about Marketing 101. So what I'm going to do is a little bit different because I know I've got folks on here that you've got a busy day ahead of you. So if you only have time to listen to a little bit of this, I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm going to cover. We're going to talk about deciding on a firm goal. We're going to be talking about deciding on a platform, and then how to reduce friction. So all of these terms are going to help you decide, how to put out a message, because right now you may be feeling like, I call it throwing rocks off the Grand Canyon. I've never been to the Grand Canyon. I've seen the Grand Canyon from an airplane, but I can imagine if you threw a rock, you would not hear it land. You get the metaphor, right? So you may be in a position where you're just putting things out there, and you're not getting the results you want. And that can be so hard, especially if you're a blogger or you're a podcaster. That takes so much time to put out content after content, and you don't know what SEO is really. You're really trying to figure out that magic thing to get that perfect client into your office. So we're going to talk about all of that today. So hang in with me. We got about 30 minutes, and I usually cut this short because I talk too fast. So let's start from the beginning with my favorite thing. We're up to 1,600 members of Texas Counselors Creating Badass Businesses. So let's welcome 16 new badasses. We've got Sandra Flurry Wilson, Maddie Janet, Gregory Adams, Katie Johnson, Celeste Zeidelman Inman, Jill Rayburn Mearns, Courtney O'Brien, Gilbert E. Patrick Melchor Mahaney, Eunice Contreras, Kendra Emel McLaughlin, Monica Simpson, Jessica Guerrero, Cindy Hyde, Brittany Code, Kiki Williams, Noor El-Kadi, Campbell. Welcome, welcome. Now let's get to work. Last night, if you were able to join the Zoom The Rules, last night was January 5th. It was really awesome. We had 140 people. We folks donated over $200, which I will match, to up to $500 to create a practice grant. So I'm going to post the link here. So if you want to get in on the practice grant for spring 22, I'll have some information about that, how to get that going. Also, I want to thank, we had some great moderators last night: Amanda Esquivel, Mary Dainty, LaShasta Bell, and Jeffrey Gallup. Awesome folks who made sure that the Zoom was a safe space. We have a monthly mentor coming up. If you look at my little ticker across the bottom here, our January theme is marketing. So we have our mentor is going to be Craig Alsop. You're coming January the 24th, 8 a.m. Tickets are only $25. I know it's early in the morning, but you're going to get so much great information about marketing your practice, and I will put that link in the thread as well. Also, if you're a member of Badasses, you can go up here and you can go to events and get information on how to join us there as well. So again, tickets are only $25. Join us 8 a.m. on the 24th for Craig Alsop talking all about marketing. All right, so let's talk about this thing called attraction marketing. Now, I'm going to give you a comparison. Imagine back in the day, you're watching a show and a commercial comes on, and it comes on right during the cliffhanger, and you get kind of pissed off. You're like, wait a second, I was right in the middle of my show. You put this ad in front of me, jump forward 25, 30 years, and you're reading this amazing article, and then a pop-up comes in your face, right? That is not attraction marketing, okay? Attraction marketing is when you're going to go hiking in Colorado and you've been needing a new jacket, and you start Googling jackets, winter, and then you see this amazing company pop up and you read about it, and you're thinking, well, this looks like any other jacket. And then you read, wait a second, this company doesn't really want me to buy their jacket. They actually want me to buy a jacket from someone else. They want me to swap out with someone. They actually have an environmental message here. They are green. They are very much into a sustainable community. I'm very interested now. You know what? I was looking at a ton of other jackets, but now I'm going to go with Patagonia, because Patagonia isn't just a jacket. It's a community of people. And, I could go on and on, but I don't work for Patagonia and they're not going to pay me for the spot. That's attraction marketing. I sought them out. I did my own filtering process. They didn't have to pop up when I was reading an article about jackets or hiking or Colorado. That's what I want to teach you guys how to do this month, how to attract a client. So it has to start with your why. Now you could Google your why. You could look at Simon Sinek's TED Talk. I can put that link down here as well. It's a great TED Talk. It talks about how to really put out a message that folks understand this is why you're doing what you're doing. And when we work as Texas counselors creating badass businesses, we talk about how you're too important to lose to things like going out of business, going broke, and getting in trouble. We even have a hashtag, right? Hashtag counselors don't quit, hashtag counselors for life. So I'm in this business to make sure we can push as many counselors out into rural Texas as we possibly can. By the way, I will post the link to our meeting next week where we're going to talk about rural counselors. It's a Zoom meeting, so if you're interested in that, more information to come. But that's my why. My why is to push as much information out so you don't go out of business, because your communities are going to depend on you. So when you decide on a firm goal, right? And I'm going to make it really, really simple, because if you're new in business, if you're an LPC associate and you're thinking about going into your own practice, if you're a graduate student and you're thinking about being one of those self-employed LPC associates when that law becomes final sometime in the next few weeks, then this is really important. So, for example, is your goal more clients? I know that's kind of the normal thought. Well, Kate, if I want to make enough money to make a living and have retirement and all the things you talk about, I need a lot of clients. Okay. Or do you want fewer clients who are cash pay? That's a different marketing strategy. It's a different why. Or do you have a niche that makes you happy, that you feel like you're good at, that you want to pursue because it's something you've dreamed about your entire life, right? So that's 3 places, 3 solid goals to begin your marketing message. Now, we'll talk about positioning later and market share and all that fun stuff, but it starts here. More clients, fewer clients, or a niche. Now, even with that very, very simple trio of ideas, you can get started, because if you're just wanting more clients, then maybe insurance is the way to go. So get on insurance and you really don't have to do a lot of marketing. They're going to push clients to you because your clients are going to be looking up, Googling their insurance company, not necessarily Googling therapists. Now, that's not a hard and fast rule, but it's nice because your insurance company will feature you on their webpage and they will push those clients to you. If your goal is fewer clients who are cash pay, that might mean a little bit more of an expensive service, right? And so there's an exercise called an ideal client exercise. Again, you can Google this stuff. It's out there. Ideal client exercise, PDF, click, and you will have something pop up. It helps you go through an exercise where this client lives, where they shop, where they eat, where they take their kids, how they spend their weekends. And that helps you get to know this person. And you can then start to talk to them through your social media, which I'll get to in just a second. Finally, when we talk about niche marketing, you may want to be an EMDR therapist. Awesome, wonderful. So go get trained, network with those folks, get on a referral list, and now you can send that marketing message to some sort of a central hub where they'll, again, push clients to you. So niche marketing means special training. networking with other specialists, maybe getting supervision, and then that can serve as a pipeline of sorts to get you some potential clients. All right, step 2, you gotta decide on a platform. All right, we've got the why, right? You've got an idea of who you want, right? That's like, I've got my fishing pole and I'm going to go fishing for, I don't know, what's a fish name? Bass. Okay, I'm going to go fish for bass. I have no idea what bass eat, but I would Google, okay, what do bass eat? Because that's what step 2 is all about. Am I going to use a fishing pole? Am I going to do one of those things like I saw a show where this guy like sticks his hand into a hole and grabs a fish? Looks gross, sounds gross. Am I going to use a net? Am I going to, I'm trying to think of all the ways you catch fish. I don't know. Maybe there's only 3. But if you're going to set up a platform to attract your clients, remember, you're going to try to position yourself to look like something your potential client needs. So are you going to use YouTube? Are you going to use blogs? Are you going to have a podcast and Instagram, TikTok, Instagram Reels, website? All right. So let's start with the most basic. I don't even believe I have to say this. You have to have a website. So with your website, that is the most static content. I always recommend, and you can watch other YouTube videos, that you always get access to your back office so that it's not so static. But when you think static, it's still, it's not moving, right? It's not going to be dynamic and interactive, right? You're not going to be posting things on a regular basis. So it's super important on your website, if that's going to be all that you have, you need to understand something called pain points. Pain points. So go back to 1, deciding on who your client is. Step 2, for your website, you're going to have to ask questions like, do you know anyone who's ever had a struggling child? Have you ever had a struggling child? Would you know what to say to that person? I can help. So those questions describe your pain points. And on a website, if you don't have control of that back office, you're going to want to make sure you pick some really, really good ones, because you may not be able to update them on a regular basis without spending a ton of money. Now, I'm going to share my screen so that you can see the other. I don't need to see my batteries charged here. Here we go. Share screen. And I'm going to share this screen. So this is a YouTube channel. So for those of you who don't have a YouTube channel, it's pretty easy to set up. It's almost like Gmail. I think Google now owns YouTube. I don't know. But you'll see that what you've got here, you get to have some playlists. You get to have an opening video up here. You get to have some links, and you get to decide where those go. If you have enough of a presence, sometimes they let you create custom URL, so it's not like this big long thing. It's actually your name. So this is an example of dynamic content. So if you decide on YouTube to accompany your static website, now you can start getting into the kind of content that your ideal client would be interested in, right? Going back to your pain points, going back to your niche, going back to, do you want a certain type of client? I can show you my Instagram, I think. Yeah, there we go. So this is my Instagram profile, which, by the way, is not very good. In fact, I'm in the process of getting it looked at and updated. I'm using a business coach right now who's helping me with my Instagram page. But again, another opportunity to put out dynamic information with, and this is something we haven't talked about yet, a firm call to action. A call to action simply is click now, schedule today, call and make an appointment, a call to action. So all of these pretty pictures of me on Enchanted Rock or in my cool office or hiking with my kids, that doesn't make any difference if I don't have a great call to action and something for my potential clients to do. So Another thing to think about, and I'm not going to go into detail because I think I have some other YouTube videos about this. When you're working on building a client load and you start using these social media platforms, you're going to want to make sure that you have a statement in your consent to treat paperwork that explains that social media is not a means of communication, right? And I talked about that. If you go back, you can look here in our files, click media, and you can look at our past Thursday 30s when I went through my paperwork. You can see my social media policy. So having a platform means you've got to have a policy in your paperwork. Super easy to do, though. Don't let that push you away. All right, last but not least, you have a blog. So I have a blog called Counselors for Life, and I like to have really big pictures. And I write content based on SEO, search engine optimization, to attract my ideal client. Now, this is my training website. So that means I'm putting out content for folks who want to take my courses, my e-courses, my 40-hour training, my supervisor training to get your 6 additional CEs. I've got tons of business courses now. So all of my content is optimized to attract a client who's interested, because I've already done the ideal client exercise. I've already decided that I know who my client is, how much I want them to spend, all the things. My why is very clear. I want to get more providers out there, especially into rural West Texas. So everything I do with my blogs is going to point people to that. Now, so we've talked about blogs, we've talked about Instagram. Y'all, I don't have TikTok yet. My kids still say I'm not allowed to get on there. I don't know why. I think they think I'm going to get made fun of. So they're very protective. So, but I have been a little interested in Instagram Reels. I know Cindy Doyle's really kicking ass, putting up some amazing Reels. Check out her Instagram page, Code 4 Couples. That's code, the number 4 couples. There's some great counselors out there doing some really cool reels. Take a look at them to get ideas. Because again, if you look at my Instagram, I'm marketing to you guys. So it's not a medium where I'm worried about people communicating with me. But every once in a while, I'll have a client reach out, or I'll have a client comment on one of my, because they find me. And it's not a process of friending, right? It's simply, there you are on Instagram, and oh, gee, you just commented on my picture. So just have a policy that you won't out your client and you won't let them out anyone else. All right, last but not least, reducing friction. Now, there's a wonderful book out there called Friction. And it's a quick read, but it talks about friction as what is standing in between your potential client and you, right? Think of that like a wall or a barrier. The author calls that friction, okay? And when you reduce friction, right, you're allowing your client to get close to you quickly, you have a better chance of turning that potential client into an actual client. So reducing friction, I'll put it in very simple terms because that's what I like to do. How fast do you return a phone call? How many times do you play phone tag? If someone fills out your complicated form on your static website, which results in an email that gets lost in your spam, what happens next? How many hours every day do you have to spend looking at your phone going, oh my gosh, I've got 10 voicemails and I know that 9 of them I'm going to just talk to their voicemail? That is friction, right? So if you've done the exercise, you know your why, you've done your ideal client exercise, you know you want this type of client and not that type of client. If you've established a platform, you've got your website, you have your YouTube and your Insta and your Finsta, oh, not your Finsta, that's what my kids do. Then now you have to do the hard work of reducing friction. Now, anytime we're connecting a potential client to you, we have to think about HIPAA. We have to think about Chapter 611 in the Texas Health and Safety Code. We have to remember we're going to capture client information, which is protected and sensitive. And so looking out there for ways to reduce friction might be your scheduling software. Does your scheduling software offer a way to email your client or text your client or send them reminders or allow them to schedule themselves? You know, I'm a huge fan of the 10-minute consultation. And if you look up in our files, go to media, or you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see information about how to do that, how to create a 10-minute consultation to get rid of all the phone tag, reduce the friction, and get your clients in front of you. So reducing friction doesn't have to be complicated, but it's probably the most important part of attraction marketing, and making sure that your clients, once you've attracted them, again, you got your bass bait, you got your fishing pole, you're in your boat at the spot, but then you look down, you're like, oh crap, I don't have any fishing line. You know, so you don't have any way. I mean, you've got a perfect opportunity and no way to get the fish into the boat, right? So I know my metaphors are going off kilter now, but you get the idea. So let me share a little bit about what we've covered today, right? Deciding on a firm goal, deciding on a platform, reducing friction. I've talked about Craig Alsop, who's coming on the 24th. Again, get your tickets, go to events, or go to my website, katewalkertraining.com. Just look at the ticker here at the bottom. Next week, again, we're just going to keep talking about marketing all through January. We're going to be talking specifically about cash clients. Now, this doesn't have to be hundreds and hundreds of dollars for each client. I know that we have a new law in place, the No Surprises Law, and I'm going to show you how to navigate that. I'm not an attorney. I don't play one on TV, but I'm going to show you ways to navigate that. But it's specifically next week's Thursday 30 is going to be about marketing to clients who are willing to pay cash. Now, if you're interested for more information about that, I do have a course called Laws, Paperwork, and Money, where I give you a free template to a super bill. And I'll be touching on that next week as well. I also have some courses all about money. I have courses all about strategic planning. So I'll put those links in the thread as well. If you have something that you want me to talk about, specifically about cash clients, put it in the thread and I will cover it tomorrow. Let me get back to my camera. I lost you guys. Where am I? Okay. There we are. I'm back. All right. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'm Dr. Kate Walker. This is your Thursday 30 for January 6th. Look for more info in the thread. Head to my YouTube channel to see old videos. And I will see you guys next week when we talk about cash clients. All right. Have a great day.